Hi everyone, this is Melissa the Stamp Doc. Today I have got a fun fold card for you. We're going to start with our paper trimmer and a 8.5 by 11-inch piece of basic black cardstock. You're going to put this in lengthwise and cut it down to 4.25 by 11. And then you want to turn it the opposite direction, and you're going to score it from one end at the 2.5-inch mark. And then to keep it easy, I flip it around and I'm going to score it at the 4.25-inch mark. And this will leave you with score marks at 2.5 inches and 6.75 if you wanted to do that in one fell swoop. Next, you're going to start cutting your designer series paper. And you're going to want to have one piece that is cut to 4 inches by 4 inches. And this is the Frightfully Cute designer series paper. You could, of course, make this into a holiday card and do this with any type of designer paper that you already have. Then you also want another piece, and I like to do a different pattern completely. So I'm going to do this little polka dot pattern, and I'm cutting it to 2.25 inches by 4 inches. And we're just going to have that set aside. You'll also want a 4x4 piece of basic white cardstock for this and a few paper scraps. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my designer series paper, and you can see where those score marks are. So you're just going to adhere the paper in between those score marks, and it will leave just a slight border around those edges. The one thing you want to make sure of is that when you flip this card, that your 4x4 paper that I'm showing here is in the right direction. So you may have to wiggle that around, but I tried to show that as best I could. And I like to use the liquid glue because that does give me a little bit of opportunity to wiggle those papers into place. And you'll see there's a nice little edge around that for you. So then we're going to take our paper over to our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I am using one of our layering circles dies, and you can see I'm putting that half on that smaller strip of designer series paper and half off there. And the idea is you want that circle to be kind of at the halfway mark on that score line. So I'm holding that in place with just a post-it note, and I'm going to run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And that will cut the circle cutout on this trifold card. So we're going to peel that off, and I'll just give you a quick look at what that looks like. And usually you're not going to have too much trouble with that cutting through those layers, so don't worry too much about that. You're also going to want to cut another basic black circle the same size as what you just cut, and just run that through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So that one's pretty easy, and you just need one of those. The one that you cut previously just really won't work for this project. And then you want to cut a circle that's just slightly smaller than the basic black circle that you did. So you're going to use that with the basic white, and just have those ready to go for our next step. So now we're ready to start stamping and assembling. But first, I decided instead of using the Frightfully Cute stamp set or the other Halloween stamp set, some of those have been on back order. So I just decided to make this easy and show you that you could just use the paper for almost all of this. So this Frightfully Cute paper actually has lots of different images that you could use. So some of my other samples have the skull and the ghost, but here we're just going to use that cute little jack-o'-lantern and just fussy cut him out. Then I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back, and I like to use the black dimensionals when I'm doing something on basic black cardstock. It just really kind of hides those a little bit better. So I'm just adding him to that front flap, as you can see, and I'm folding my card so you can start to see how that's going to come together. So with that folded, I make sure that my circle fits there, and I'm going to use just a little bit of adhesive on that. And I just want adhesive on that lower part of the circle. So if I just fill in that area where there's an opening now, I can take that basic black circle and fill in that spot. And that way that is going to fit just perfectly. So now we're ready to stamp, and I'm going to use my stamp apparatus. And this is how I'm going to do that little circle. So I've already put my trick or treat down, and I'm going to just ink that up. And I love this little grid paper that you can get with the stamp apparatus. And then all I have to do is just cover that with my circle. I can ink that up, and then I know that it's going to stamp perfectly in place. So I have that trick or treat just perfect. And then the next thing I have to do, remember I told you have to cut a piece of basic white cardstock to 4 inches by 4 inches. So you want to grab that. And for this one, I'm going to do another greeting, and this one's going to go on the inside of our card. So I'm going to just line that up where I want it. And again, I'm going to ink that up with the basic, well, the black Memento ink, and just put that down. And it says, "Have a fabulous Halloween." So it's super cute. So once we've got our stamping done, we're ready to put those on the card. And so I'm just going to put a little adhesive on our circle and layer that onto that circle. And then this piece, you're going to adhere on that bottom level there. And again, that will have just a slight border around it. So you can see that's all coming together. And then just for accent, I love this black gingham ribbon. And so I'm going to add some of that around it. And that will also help to hold it closed. So I've done this little thing a couple of ways. I've tied it through the middle, and I've tied it around the whole thing. So you can do that either way that you want. And then I'm just going to trim the ends, and there is our finished card. So this is a little circle cutout trifold card, and I hope you will give it a try. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe.